Hey everyone, welcome back. Please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy this content. Here's the thing. I was browsing through an old hard drive today, and I was looking at, because I'm an artist and I like to draw, paint, that kind of thing. So I collect a lot of pictures, sort of inspiration and images from around the world and stuff that I can use just as reference or whatever, things to inspire me. And I found this old hard drive, and it had a collection of a whole bunch of art that I had collected, off the internet, or just pictures that I had saved, sort of before AI. And it was stunning to me how different it is than the stuff that I'm collecting now, and how the world of art has really changed, at least online, from the influence of AI. And so it got me thinking, because I realized that I had seen this before, not firsthand, but I've seen the effects of this before. And I don't want this to be another video where someone talks about the big bad AI, but I don't know if this is inadvertent or I don't know if this is intentional, but I can see some real dangers occurring with AI, because this is sort of cultural Maoism, if you like, on a scale that's breathtaking. The thing is that AI has the ability to completely erase, disrupt, or change our past. And I'll give you what I mean. I was looking through Facebook, and there are a whole bunch of images of the Second World War, and it was showing people that had been rescued, supposedly rescued from a concentration camp. And I skipped over it, and I stopped and wait a minute, why did I skip over it? And I realized I skipped over it because I didn't know if these images were AI or if they were real. Now, we're still in early days, so, some forensic exploration of these files and stuff can tell you if they're AI, if they've been doctored. But I'm willing to wager that in about a year, you won't be able to tell. But it also made me realize that AI had changed my behavior. I had just skipped over these images instead of looking at them and feeling the humanness of them, and realizing what had happened and the historical value of them and things. Instead, it just created this. Well, I don't know whether these images are real or not. And when I looked at them, I couldn't tell. They looked a little AI to me, but who knows? And it's Facebook, so who knows? And so I realized this is the effect of AI. This is artificial intelligence. This is what it's doing to the world of pictures. Not just art, but pictures itself. It's removing the humanity from this. And so it got me thinking, these huge data centers being opened up, they're just, what are they for? I've been very concerned about this for a while, because I have learned over my years that nothing can ever be taken on face value. The reason for that is twofold. Either someone is up to something and they're just not telling you, and they're going ahead with a plan and you don't realize what their intention is, or there's going to be some unintended consequence of their action. But there's always one or the other, and it will always happen. I don't care what it is. Right? There's always an unintended consequence, or there's a hidden agenda. There's always one or the other. With the hidden agenda, they know what the consequences are, and so they're not unintended. That's the distinction I'm making there. So this gets me thinking that we're living in this world where someone like me, and I'm sure I'm not alone. I mean, whenever I notice a behavior of myself, I always discover that it's shared by all kinds of people. I'm not unique. And so there are thousands of people out there that are just scrolling past historical images because they have no idea if they're real or not. And then there's other people that are going to be thinking they're real when they're not real. And this changes our entire history. And that's what Maoism did. Maoism wiped out Chinese history, completely wiped it out. And I forget where it is, but the museum with the most historical, with the most history of China isn't even in China anymore. That's how thoroughly it got wiped out. And that's what AI is doing to our culture. AI is beginning, I'm just seeing the beginnings of it, is beginning to bleach out our culture and change, destroy it. I wouldn't say change it, I would say destroy it. I would say that myself scrolling through and ignoring these incredibly profound historical photos, if they're historical, I don't know. I mean, you know, how can I tell? Right? I'm not an AI expert. So, but here's the other thing too that really concerns me. And this is books. Books, people are turning more and more to digital books all the time. And, you know, sort of printed books are sort of going by the wayside. You know, not entirely. There's lots of, you know, garbage fiction out there getting published all the time and whatever. And I hate to say that, but I'm sorry. But, you know, and there's nonfiction books too getting published, but there's not as much as there used to be. It's a lot of it's getting digital. A lot of people are collecting the digital. And when an empire collapses or when a civilization collapses, one of the very first things that gets destroyed is their knowledge. You know, there's I don't exactly remember the details, but there was, you know, for example, in the Middle East, there was a king that fueled his bathhouses with books, a monstrous library of books, and it took him, I think, like 2 months or something, and he was able to heat the communal bathing room or whatever it is, the bathhouse for the city with these books, just by throwing the books in, burning them. And I've been watching, and that's basically what is starting to happen now. People are relying on digital more and more, and they're downsizing, and they're saying, well, I don't need a library. I've got everything I want on my phone. What do I need that for? Well, you know what? With these massive data centers and the way AI is getting faster and faster, and now we've got other, you know, technologies on the horizon that are going to make AI insane if they do even a tenth of what it looks like they're going to do. I'm talking about tri-bit computers and coupled with analog computers. Like, we're done. So the thing is that these computers, these massive data centers, what's an unintended consequence, or what's an intended consequence? They can go through all of the digital books, right, and do something that the Marxists call decolonizing, right? They decolonize the books. History books at best are inaccurate as hell. They always tell the story from the winner, and they always tell the story from the winner's perspective that they want you to know about. That's just how it is. It's just a immutable reality. So history books already, as soon as you pick them up and you start reading them, whatever, they're very suspicious. You have to be very suspicious. You have to always consider who's writing it, what's their purpose, what's their intent, what are they trying to portray to you. You know, it's quite complex to read a history book. At least in my opinion. This is my own methodology for reading them. I assume other people do that. I hope they do. You need to scrutinize the source always. So what happens when all these books are digitized and, say, one of these Marxists gets in control of, say, the Gutenberg library online and decides that they're going to decolonize it? Well, what does decolonize mean? Decolonize means basically they're going to make it, they're going to rewrite the books so that they take out certain language, and so they have a certain perspective that isn't reality. It's something that they would like to live in. It's a bubble they would like to live in. Well, that's Maoism again. That's completely destroying our history and our civilization. But it can be done. If this is continued, if this is allowed to continue, just continues, I'm not trying to say it can be stopped, I don't know. This is way above my pay grade. But, it looks like it's just going to happen. I know that all the AI moguls are building bomb shelters and getting prepared because they realize that they've destroyed the world. I agree with them. They have. I can't afford to build a 28,000 foot bunker for when they end the world. So I guess I'm just going to be one of, collateral damage in it. But here's the thing, I don't have to have my eyes closed while I'm watching this happen. And there's still time to do things. There's still time to make change. I'm not sure what that is. I'm just expressing what I'm seeing here. That's what my entire channel is about, is just when these ideas hit me, and I was sitting there looking at this, thinking about it, and this all hit me tonight. And I thought, well, I better make a video about it. And so what happens when one of these Maoists or one of these Marxists decides to get into the Gutenberg, right? Or decides to get into any number of huge collections of books that have been digitized? Well, they can, within, who knows, these computers are quick. I would guess that it would take at least a year, but maybe longer, maybe less. I don't know. It might even be much faster than that. I really couldn't tell you. But they could do it. They could put in the parameters of how the books ought to be changed, and then we could go to bed, living in one world, wake up and living in a totally different world. A Marxist, Maoist world. And I'm not trying to raise the alarm about communism. I'm using that as an example. It could be, that's one of my dogs, it could be any kind of sanitizing these books. Digital books are in a perilous position. How can you tell if an AI's gone through and changed the book? It's just like the picture. How do I know that the picture's real? How do I know that the book is real? I don't. And there's no way for me to tell when it's being digital. Digital doesn't work for this reason, especially with AI. So we need physical books. It gives us the reference. But here's the thing is they're going to come for physical books. We've already heard the World Economic Forum, which is the biggest Marxist organization on the planet, and they're trying to create a great big, world Marxism. And they say, oh, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You'll own nothing as in you won't even be able to have a library. So we're just literally passing into these people, these elites' hands. And I got to remind you, most of them are pedophiles and psychos, and they're not great people. We don't want them in control of this. We really don't. Every time you just have to scratch a little bit and you find the horrible monsters with these people. Horrible monsters. Do we really want them in charge of our entire world history, our entire cultural history? And that's what's happening. They're going to continue to devalue dollar. They're going to continue impoverishing us further and further until finally we can't even own books. And what's going to happen with the books? Well, we can't afford to keep them. Well, they've been digitized. We don't really need to keep them. We've got them on file. Well, we don't like this word. Let's just remove the word from all those books. Well, we don't like this perspective. Let's just remove that. Well, we don't like this kind of, this thing in history. Let's just change it. And we'll get AI to go through all the books and just change it for us. And this is a reality that's just around the corner. This could be happening now for all I know. Maybe they just haven't rounded up the books yet. But that's coming.